The chaotic state of Indian roads, where everything from cows to tuk-tuks can appear together at the same time, and people move like backpackers weaving and swerving from large roads to narrow alleyways. The infamous armpit held fried dough, tea brewed with water from the Ganges, and a variety of unique dishes in India are enough to scare anyone just by looking at them. In this country of over 1 billion people, the wealth gap is stark, with beauty intertwined with ugliness and luxury side by side with filth, often within the same neighborhood. Despite the government spending 30 billion USD to build 100 million new toilets, Indian women still have a passion for open defecation due to this ridiculous reason. Let's jump right in and start exploring. Let's dive into a question that sparks a lot of curiosity. Why is India often labeled as a dirty country by foreigners? Now, before we jump to conclusions, there's something crucial to understand. India is a land of immense diversity. Its people, cultures, and landscapes are as varied as you can imagine. In fact, India is home to some of the most stunning places on Earth, destinations that draw travelers from all over the world. Take Kerala, for example, often called God's own country. It's famous for its stunning natural beauty, endless golden beaches, peaceful backwaters with drifting houseboats, and lush green mountains that touch the sky. Then there are the Himalayas, majestic and towering, home to some of the most breathtaking landscapes on Earth. The Kashmir Valley, with its emerald fields and snow-capped peaks, feels like a dream. Ladakh, in northern India, offers rugged, untouched beauty that seems frozen in time. These regions highlight just how vast and diverse India really is. Interestingly, millions of years ago, the sea was part of this very mountain range. As the sea receded, it left behind vast salt flats, a testament to the Earth's constant transformation. At India's southernmost tip, Kanyakumari is where the Indian, Arabian, and Bay of Bengal oceans meet, creating a stunning fusion of colors and panoramic views that are simply unforgettable. Did you know that India has the highest number of people practicing open defecation in the world, according to UNICEF? Before I reveal why women here always prefer to use the bathroom outdoors rather than indoors, take 5 seconds to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. You will have a treasure trove of valuable videos to watch forever. Around 620 million people, mostly in rural areas, still face challenges accessing proper sanitation. For low-income individuals in India, using toilets is limited by a lack of proper facilities. For women in particular, the unsanitary, dark, and water-scarce conditions of many toilets not only impact their health, but also their personal safety. One afternoon in the Subhash Nagar settlement in Mumbai, a group of women's light-hearted chatter quickly turned serious when the topic of using the toilet came up. Today, let's not drink too much water. Otherwise, we'll have to use the bathroom late at night. It's not safe then, said Kalawati Yadav, a 31-year-old woman, expressing her concern. In fact, it's not just at night that it's an issue. Using the toilet during the day isn't much better, as residents here face a severe shortage of toilets. In Subhash Nagar, for example, there are only 2 clusters of public toilets, each with 12 stalls evenly divided between men and women, built on an area of about 260 square meters, but serving over 9,000 residents. As a result, the residents here, like millions of low-income people across the country, often use the toilet based on availability, not biological need. Many women admitted they frequently hold in urine and avoid drinking water to reduce the need to go. Although they know this can lead to stomach pains and constipation, they have no better options. On the 150th anniversary of the birth of India's spiritual leader Mahatma Gandhi, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi declared the world will be amazed by the 100 million toilets provided to over 600 million people in just 60 months. No one believed there would come a day when India could address open defecation so quickly. But now, we've done it. Prime Minister Modi launched this project as part of the Swachh Bharat Clean India campaign in 2014, aiming to eliminate open defecation across the country. The Indian government spent over $30 billion and built more than 100 million toilets over the next 7 years to improve sanitation conditions nationwide. In 2020, Prime Minister Modi announced that India had finally ended open defecation. People were now using toilets instead of going in fields, bushes, or any open spaces as they had before. But has the issue truly been resolved? If the government's numbers are accurate, this would mark a tremendous achievement. However, experts suggest that the statistics are misleading and that open defecation has not been entirely eradicated in the country. A lack of toilets, water shortages, and public unawareness about proper hygiene and sanitation practices are among the reasons why open defecation remains common. In India, attitudes toward defecation continue to pose a major challenge in eliminating this practice. Many rural residents still view open defecation as cleaner than using indoor toilets. A rice expert noted, "We appreciate that this government has made sanitation a major priority, which is unprecedented. However, open defecation is in no way completely eliminated." What would you do if going to the bathroom wasn't safe or available when you needed it? Have you encountered similar issues in other parts of the world? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. The Ganges River is one of the most sacred and significant rivers in India. It serves as a vital source of drinking and agricultural water for millions and is a holy site for bathing and prayer. However, the Ganges is also among the most polluted rivers in the world. A study by India's Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in 2018 found that approximately 1.3 billion litres of untreated wastewater are dumped into the Ganges daily. Additionally, millions of people use the river as a dumping ground for household waste. The annual pilgrimage season, in May and June, brings large crowds to the Ganges, seeking purification and spiritual cleansing from its sacred waters. Pilgrims not only drink the polluted water, but also bathe in it, believing the holy river can wash away sins and provide both physical and spiritual well-being. The Ganges River is known to be polluted, yet Indians still drink from it. Why don't they seem to be affected? The reason is simple: Indians have built up immunity over time. For generations they have been drinking and cooking with Ganges water, so their bodies have adapted to the bacteria. Even if someone gets sick after drinking it, they wouldn't suspect the river as the cause because to them, the Ganges is sacred and untouchable. Experts say the Ganges has a unique self-purifying ability, capable of breaking down pollutants. The water quality might be considered drinkable due to the fast-flowing currents and waves, which lead to high levels of dissolved oxygen. Because of the high oxygen content in the water, bacteria struggle to thrive, and mosquito larvae find it hard to develop. This means drinking directly from the Ganges doesn't pose significant health risks for the locals. When you walk through the vibrant streets of India, one of the first things you'll notice is the intoxicating aroma of street food, an explosion of spices, flavors, and colors that is impossible to resist. From crispy samosas to tangy pani puri and sizzling kebabs, street food is not just a meal, it's an essential part of India's culinary culture. But for travelers, especially those with more sensitive stomachs, navigating the world of Indian street food can be both an adventure and a challenge. Hygiene in India is a topic that often sparks concern, and for good reason. It's not uncommon to find street food vendors selling their delicacies just a few feet away from open sewage or trash-strewn alleys. The sight of utensils being rinsed in a bucket of murky water, likely used dozens of times without being changed, is something that might raise red flags for travelers who are accustomed to more stringent food safety standards. The use of dirty rags to wipe down surfaces or utensils is also not unusual, creating an environment where bacteria, fungi, and viruses can easily thrive, often ones that your immune system has never encountered before. Yet, despite these conditions, street food remains a beloved part of daily life in India. For locals, it's about convenience, affordability, and above all, flavor. The sizzling of a hot tawa, the clinking of metal utensils, and the mouth-watering smells swirling through the air are part of the magic of India's street culture. So how do you eat safely while still soaking in the authentic street food experience? One option, of course, is to head for the familiar modern chains like Starbucks, KFC, Subway, and McDonald's have made their mark on India. These places offer a certain level of comfort for travelers who might be wary of local hygiene practices. But there's a catch: these outlets tend to come at much higher prices than what you'd pay for a plate of street chaat, and even they are not always up to the cleanliness standards you might expect back home. Sometimes even the sparkling golden arches can hide less than ideal kitchen practices. The best way to navigate street food in India is to use your senses. Watch where the locals eat. Crowded stalls often indicate a higher turnover of food, which generally means it's fresher. Look for vendors who prepare food in front of you, as this allows you to see exactly how the dish is made. And pay attention to cleanliness. If a place looks dodgy, trust your instincts. Also, make sure to stick to bottled or purified water to avoid any potential stomach issues. So what do you think? Would you take the risk and dive into the world of Indian street food, or would you play it safe with international chains? What are your own experiences with street food in other countries? Let me know in the comments. If you've heard that cows are sacred in India, you might wonder why this animal, more commonly seen as livestock in many parts of the world, holds such a special place in the hearts of millions of Indians. In Hinduism, the cow is seen as more than just an animal. It represents Devi, the nurturing mother, responsible for sustaining life on earth. This maternal image of the cow reflects its importance in a society that places great value on life, nourishment, and the interconnectedness of all beings. Just as a mother provides for her children, the cow provides food, sustenance, and even spiritual connection. Hindus do not worship or regard cows as deities. However, for them, cows are considered sacred symbols. During the COVID-19 pandemic that ravaged India, some Hindu devotees in the state of Gujarat visited cow camps once a week to bathe in cow milk and smear a mixture of cow urine and dung on their bodies, hoping to boost their immunity against the coronavirus or recover quickly if they had already contracted the disease. But this method has been confirmed by doctors as baseless. There is no scientific evidence to suggest that cow dung or urine can boost immunity or protect against COVID-19. This is entirely based on belief, said Dr. Jai Lal, president of the Indian Medical Association. The connection between cows and spirituality becomes even more profound when we explore the deity Kamadhenu. Her image represents abundance and purity, with milk being considered one of the purest forms of sustenance in India. In Hindu mythology, Kamadhenu is also believed to have the power to fulfill any wish, providing everything her owner desires. This adds to the cow's status as a sacred and revered figure, not just a physical animal but a divine conduit for blessings and abundance. For many Indians, the cow embodies a connection between the human and the divine. It's not uncommon to see cows wandering freely through busy streets, markets, and even city centers, treated with respect and often fed by passers-by. This might seem unusual to a visitor, especially those from Western cultures where animals are usually kept in farms or fenced off, but in India, these gentle creatures are part of the social and spiritual fabric of life. India, with its booming population of over 1.4 billion people, is a land of contrasts, and nowhere is this more evident than on its chaotic roads. The streets are a living, breathing organism, where vehicles, pedestrians, and even animals all share the same crowded space. The traffic is a constant flow of movement, often without the strict rules that many travelers might expect in other parts of the world. In fact, India is widely recognized for having some of the most unpredictable and chaotic traffic conditions on the planet. You're in the middle of a bustling city, and cars, motorbikes, tuk-tuks, bicycles, and even the occasional cow are all vying for the same narrow strip of road. Traffic signals are more of a suggestion than a rule, and road signage is often missing or ignored altogether. Honking horns are the soundtrack of the streets, not just to signal frustration but to communicate everything from turning to alerting pedestrians. It's a symphony of noise, chaos, and constant motion that can overwhelm the senses of anyone unfamiliar with the rhythm of Indian roads. The lack of adherence to basic safety measures is another stark reality. It's not uncommon to see people weaving through traffic without helmets or seatbelts. Entire families ride on a single motorbike, dad at the helm, mum perched side saddle, and kids squished between them, all without any protective gear. In an attempt to curb one particular annoyance, the deafening noise of incessant honking, one minister came up with a rather unconventional solution, replacing the sound of car horns with flute melodies. This idea, as reported by Daily India, emerged after the minister's morning yoga session was interrupted by the unrelenting sounds of blaring horns. India currently tops the global rankings for indoor air pollution, with the highest annual average level of fine particulate matter PM2.5 in the world. On January 17th, multinational technology company Dyson released research that came to this conclusion. The countries following India in terms of high levels of indoor air pollution are China, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, and South Korea. Among the cities studied with the highest annual average PM2.5 levels, the capital, New Delhi, ranks first with a PM2.5 level of 69.29, followed by Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Busan. Dyson's project analyzed over 500 billion data points to understand user behavior and compare indoor and outdoor air quality. The research showed that indoor air can be significantly worse, especially during winter, with PM2.5 levels exceeding health standards set by the World Health Organization. Winter is generally the most polluted season everywhere, even in the southern hemisphere, where colder weather traps polluted air close to the ground. Pollution peaks during the winter, particularly in New Delhi, with November and December being the most polluted months. Dyson noted that remarkably, indoor air during the winter was found to be 15% worse than outside, causing dust and smoke to cling to walls. In fact, Across India, indoor air is 41% dirtier during these months, and even worse by 48%. Unlike most places where air quality is worst at night, in India the most polluted indoor times are between 7 in the morning and midday. Particulate matter 2.5 is a mixture of solid and liquid particles used to describe pollution levels. PM2.5 refers to fine particles with a diameter of less than 2.5 micrometers, over 100 times thinner than a human hair. These particles stay suspended in the air for longer periods and pose health risks as they can enter the respiratory system. India is a country of breathtaking contrasts, stunning landscapes, vibrant traditions, and lively cities. However, like many places around the world, it faces certain public health challenges, often linked to its high population density. The rapid growth of cities has placed pressure on infrastructure, including waste management systems. In some areas, especially rural regions, access to efficient sanitation services can be limited. As a result, waste management in certain places may not meet modern standards, which can lead to environmental issues. It's important for travelers to be mindful of local practices regarding food and water hygiene. Ensuring you consume properly treated drinking water and food from reputable sources is one way to reduce the likelihood of foodborne illnesses during your visit. India is also home to a diverse range of communities, each with unique traditions. In some parts of the country, there are cultural practices, such as marriages between close relatives, that may contribute to a higher risk of certain genetic health conditions. These cases are limited to specific regions and are not representative of the entire population, but they add to the overall healthcare landscape in the country. Travelers should also be aware of the prevalence of certain diseases, especially in tropical regions. Diseases such as dengue fever and malaria can be more common due to the climate and environmental factors. Visitors are encouraged to take preventive measures, including vaccinations and using mosquito repellents, to ensure a safe and enjoyable trip. While India faces significant challenges related to cleanliness and hygiene, it's important to acknowledge that the country is not simply complacent about these issues. Across India, many individuals, communities, and organizations are actively engaged in cultural efforts to combat filth and improve the overall sanitation conditions. India's problems with waste and hygiene are largely due to its enormous population, rapid urbanization, and a lag in infrastructure development. However, there is a growing movement among Indians who are deeply committed to addressing these problems. Volunteers, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and the government itself are playing pivotal roles in raising awareness about cleanliness and taking actionable steps to improve the situation. One of the most notable efforts in recent years is the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan Clean India mission, launched by the government in 2014. This massive nationwide campaign has sought to create a shift in public attitudes towards sanitation and cleanliness. You'll find that many cities and towns now have scheduled street cleaning programs, and public figures regularly promote cleanliness as a civic duty. The campaign focuses on building public toilets, improving waste collection systems, and discouraging open defecation, issues that are key to improving hygiene in both urban and rural areas. The efforts don't stop with the government, though. There are numerous NGOs and volunteer groups working tirelessly to keep the streets clean and educate communities on waste management. These organizations often run localized campaigns, mobilizing residents to participate in cleanup drives, segregate waste at home, and reduce littering. In addition to cleaning programs, there has been a significant push towards sustainable and eco-friendly solutions to reduce waste. Some areas in India have adopted creative recycling incentives, such as offering rewards for turning in plastic bottles or scrap materials. Cities like Indore, known for consistently ranking as one of the cleanest cities in India, have introduced programs that involve regular waste segregation, composting of organic waste, and even waste-to-energy projects that turn trash into usable energy. Reducing the use of disposable plastics is another major focus. India has seen a rise in initiatives aimed at banning single-use plastics, with some regions completely phasing out plastic bags and encouraging the use of biodegradable alternatives. A key part of this cultural shift is education and awareness. Many Indians are now more informed about the effects of pollution and the importance of keeping their surroundings clean. Educational programs are being implemented in schools, ensuring that future generations grow up with a better understanding of hygiene and environmental responsibility. By fostering awareness at a young age, India hopes to create long-term cultural changes that prioritize cleanliness and sustainability. Cleanliness in India is a complex topic that varies dramatically between urban and rural regions. In areas popular with tourists, such as Goa, Jaipur, or the iconic Taj Mahal, cleanliness is often prioritized. Tourism is a major contributor to India's economy, bringing in approximately $30 billion annually, and local authorities work hard to ensure these spots remain attractive to visitors. However, with a population of over 1.4 billion, India faces significant challenges in lifting its people out of poverty. Despite being one of the fastest-growing economies, around 35% of the population still lives on less than $2 per day. This widespread poverty, particularly in rural and low-income urban areas, exacerbates the challenges related to cleanliness. Many of these regions struggle due to limited access to quality education, sanitation infrastructure, and financial resources. Whether you're traveling to India or being invited to an Indian family's home, learning the basics of dining etiquette can be very helpful. The biggest difference between Western and Indian dining is that Indians eat with their hands, serve food family style, arrive late, and make every effort to ensure their guests feel comfortable. Indian food is quite different from Western food, and at first glance it may seem a bit intimidating. However, there's no need to worry too much. Most dishes consist of meat or vegetables in a thick sauce, served with either rice or bread, depending on preference. Although Indian food is often considered spicy, not all of it is. A key characteristic of Indian hosts is their hospitality. As a guest, you'll have a memorable experience. In India, the traditional way to eat is with your hands, directly putting food into your mouth. When eating by hand, people bring their fingers together, using only their fingertips to pick up the food. Indians believe this method helps focus attention on the flavors of the food. However, not all Indian foods are eaten with your hands. If it's soup, you'll use a spoon, and for flatbreads like chapati, roti, or naan, people use pieces of bread to pick up the food. It's considered impolite to get your palm or the outside of your fingers dirty. While many Indians eat with their hands, the middle and upper classes also use forks and knives. It's perfectly normal for foreigners to request utensils at formal settings like restaurants. Regardless of whether you're eating with a fork or not, you must wash your hands before and after every meal. This is to ensure food safety and your own health. A common misconception among many tourists visiting India is that street food is unsanitary due to poor hygiene conditions. However, many people get stomach issues due to bacteria on their hands, which can be avoided by proper hand washing. Although clean hands are essential in Indian dining etiquette, wiping your right hand with a cloth napkin is considered unsanitary. Most Indian dishes are served family style, meaning that several main dishes are shared at the table. A typical Indian family meal includes rice, flatbreads, meat dishes, vegetables, lentils, salad, yogurt, and pickled vegetables. You can still order family style, even if dining with just 2 people, but it's best to order at least 3 dishes, not counting bread or rice. Sharing drinks, spoons, or leftover food is considered intimate behavior between 2 people or within families, but is generally seen as disrespectful and unhygienic between friends, co-workers, and acquaintances. Eating with the left hand in India has long been considered rude and unsanitary. Since the left hand is often seen as unclean, you should use your right hand to eat. Traditionally, it's best to keep your left hand at your side, making sure not to place it on the table or pass food with it. Although eating with the right hand is customary and highly encouraged, it's not strictly enforced. You may notice many Indians today using both hands to eat, and some even incorporate utensils into their meals. This varies by region in India, but middle and upper class individuals often use forks and knives and don't mind using their left hand. You don't need to try every dish the host prepares, but you should finish everything on your plate, as it shows respect for the food. In Hinduism, this is considered sacred. This might be tricky if the host is particularly hospitable and offers you many dishes to try. For some Westerners, punctuality is very important, especially when it comes to guest-host relationships. But in India, it's completely acceptable to arrive 15-20 minutes late. In fact, you might even surprise your host if you show up on time. While it's not necessary to bring a gift when visiting someone's home, it's always appreciated. Suitable gifts include sweets, fruits, or souvenirs. If there are children in the house, bringing a small toy is a good idea and will make you more well-liked. However, be mindful of the gifts you bring. For instance, while bringing a bottle of wine to dinner is common in the West, many Indian families don't keep alcohol in the house. If you notice the host does have alcohol, then a bottle of wine or whiskey would be appropriate. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I'm sure you'll love this content. Comment below about the next country you want to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us on this great journey. Leave your thoughts in the comments and like to help us. Remember to subscribe for more. See you soon.